Hi, if you're a new listener, welcome. I'm Sarah. I help people do well and be well. I'm an ex-HR leader, a coach, a hypnotherapist, a psychology teacher, and a people and culture consultant. I'm also your host for this podcast, where we learn about tools, strategies, practices, and people that help us do well and be well. More than anything else, I'm deeply curious, an observer, a seeker, an explorer, and a dot connector. I usually interview people on this podcast, but recently I've started sharing some of my own writings as audio. I write about life and work and purpose and whatever else wants to come through me. I hope you enjoy this one. It's about my life and my work and my purpose. The work is hard. The work is hard, but it's not what we were told it is. For as long as I can remember, I have been fascinated by work. I grew up in Silicon Valley and I went to UC Berkeley. I got a graduate degree in psychology and I joined a system, a hard one. I went from a career as a coach and educator to a roller coaster in the tech world, from operational optimization to M&A and HR at companies like Tesla, AWS, Square, and Instacart. And being a part of that system, what really caught my curiosity was a question about the purpose of work within the experience of life. I wondered, how can work make people happier so that we can all feel a sense of purpose and meaning in what we do and in why we're here, so that we may contribute to the well-being of others and the betterment of our world? The problem I saw was people were working so hard and not caring for themselves. That manifested as anger towards work, the workplace, and colleagues. This, in turn, impacted home life and personal relationships for so many. No matter how great the company, how big the paycheck, how well-known the brand, if you're missing self-love, self-acceptance, and self-expression, if you didn't feel seen and heard, none of that would matter. Because a lack of love and acceptance for yourself leads to a lack of excitement for life. There's a resistance to allowing life to flow through us. And that is what causes the cracks in the foundation of our lives, in our relationships, in our careers, and in our communities. So I set out to bridge that gap. I went from being an HR leader to a coach who focuses on helping people heal their relationships with work and themselves. Which is why I say, do well and be well. My first and most important client was me. See, I had to do this work for myself first, before I could help others through it. And man, the work is hard. You have to dig deep and peel layer after layer after layer of understanding and conditioning and performing to get to the essence of who you are and what you are here to do. I knew what the hard work was. In our world, the outer realm was prioritized, the material world. So I thought, the work that would solve our dissatisfaction and disenchantment was the work of the inner world, the soul work. So I focused on helping high performers learn balance, emotional resilience, and mindset management skills, mindfulness practices, all to help them reconnect with themselves. And then a little further along on my own journey, I realized it's less about being well and actually more about doing well, which is the exact opposite of what any spiritual person would tell you. Let me explain. See, my curiosity about the work led me to a world of magic makers and inner world workers, the healers of our world, the ones who help people reconnect with their sense of curiosity and wonder and magic and their intuitive intelligence. And I realized it's possible for people to get a glimpse of the world of inner work, which invites them to heal. And people are drawn to it. It's like a breath of fresh air for them. When we enter the inner world after having focused so intensely on our outer world for so long, we remember and we rejoice and we feel relief that this material world is not all that there is. There's more. We are re-enchanted with the experience of being human. We are re-enchanted with life. We remember our own magic. But then I'd see these people who got a glimpse of the magical and the magnificent return to the mundane, the ordinary. And they'd start to lose whatever they gained in that inner world of wonder. It would be gone after a little while. Everything would go back to normal. How do you come back from experiencing the profound and continue being practical? How do you find meaning in the mundane? How do you re-engage in the material world after having experienced the mystical one? When I say the work is hard, I mean where the inner world and the outer world meet. That is where the work is the hardest. This is where you are invited to become whole. Through working with all of the people I've had a chance to work with for over 2 decades, and having gone on an inner work journey myself, I've learned that the work is hard as you shed and heal, but man, the work gets even harder on the way back. And actually, that's the real work. How do you, as a healed, whole, awake, aware person, reintegrate into this world? The world we live in, and the world we helped create when we too were asleep. How do you, as a healed, whole, awake human, live in that world while also maintaining your sense of enlightenment and magic and mysticism and wonder? Because it's so easy to get lost in your detachment disguised as peace and your emotional suppression disguised as self-restraint. But the real work happens when you go back in, living in it while knowing you are not of it. This is where the real healing happens. How do you live in this world and change it from within without losing yourself in it again? Without feeling the need to detach, to avoid, to escape? Because the work is so hard. And the hardest of the work is not coming out of the dream. The hardest of the work is going back in and not losing yourself again. The hardest part is not actually being well. You can be well on your wellness retreats in remote locations with like-minded people, and you can be well in isolation, meditating your day away. But can you do well in this world that we must live in? It's not about detaching and numbing. It's about going back in fully into the chaos without letting the chaos consume you. It's about making money while making an impact for others and making meaning for yourself. It's knowing when to use your emotional and intuitive intelligence to empathize and when to use it to walk away. It's developing the practices to maintain your peace and the practical skills to maintain your success. It's bridging the gap between your inner and your outer worlds. And that is how I help. That is my work. If you need help bridging this gap, you can visit avra.as.me to book a consult or find me on LinkedIn to stay connected. You can also sign up for my newsletter, Work Well, or find me on Substack. I write a lot about doing well and being well. I'll drop the links in the show notes, and I will see you soon.